Hello and welcome into the newest episode of Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella. It seems to be a good news, potentially bad news situation for the Patriots at the top of the NFL draft, with the latest news coming from the top prospect. The Patriots released their top three Hall of Fame finalists that could be joining Bill Parcells later on this year. Additionally, could there be a perfect running back out there for the Pats to address in the NFL draft? And what could be the solution to the kicking game for the Patriots? Before we get into everything, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get into the comments and let us know what you think about the current state of the Patriots just a couple weeks out from the NFL draft, and what are the top holes that the Patriots need to focus on, and perhaps a dark horse candidate that could be the perfect fit for this team. We start today looking at one of the top players in this NFL draft, in Abdul Carter, the defensive end edge rusher from Penn State. And as the draft begins to come more clear, and we're seeing Cam Ward pretty much linked to the Titans at number one now, unfortunately, seeing Travis Hunter pretty much linked to the Cleveland Browns at number two, which means Shedeur Sanders is not going to Cleveland. I think that there still is an outside chance that that could happen. But if it doesn't, that's Hunter at two, leaving the Giants to then decide between Abdul Carter and Shedeur Sanders. The Patriots will join those top three teams as one of four that will get a chance to meet with Abdul Carter before the NFL draft. So that sets the floor for Abdul Carter. He will be in the top four picks in some shape, form, or fashion. A team may trade up for him, but it looks to be set in stone that at this point, the Patriots will hope that either the Cleveland Browns or New York Giants will decide that their infatuation level rises with Shedeur Sanders. They will decide to take him as their franchise quarterback and potentially get the chance to have Abdul Carter slide down to the Patriots, and essentially a potential huge win, as you would get either the top or second best prospect. Again, all credit to Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward as quarterbacks. They do get elevated because of the nature of the NFL today. But again, that is a pie in the sky scenario. So it's good news, bad news, in that he has identified that it's a scenario that could play out, and he should actually go visit with the Patriots before this, probably by the urging of his agent at this point. But more than likely, the Giants or Cleveland Browns will decide that let's take the best available. And even if Cleveland goes back to their original plan, which was to pair Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett and produce a vaunted attack on the edges and be able to round out the rest of the team that way, and then the Giants may actually start thinking about, do we want Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders? And again, it's these same four players, the same names we'll continue to talk about, and that scenario where if the Patriots are still on the clock and it's Shedeur Sanders of that top four remaining, then the questions start to become, do we talk to the New Orleans Saints? Do we talk to the Las Vegas Raiders? Is there another dark horse team out there that would be interested in coming up? Obviously, the Pittsburgh Steelers had Shedeur Sanders come in for that visit. Are they willing to go all the way up to four to go get him? Or are they hoping for a further slide back? And the Patriots then would decide to start about, think about taking somebody else, whether that be a tackle, an Armand Membu, the giant from Missouri, the Will Campbell pick that has been much debated, Mason Graham from Michigan, or the riser now in Georgia linebacker, Jalen Walker. Again, more unanswered questions than actual ones with this latest news that Abdul Carter will at least get to visit with the Patriots, and the Patriots could go so far as to say, we love this guy. Hey, Giants, what do you need for us to move up this one spot to secure the guy? And could the Giants then feel good about, hey, we're going to move back. We're not going to get Abdul Carter. We invested already in Kayvon Thibodeau. Let's make sure we get our quarterback and pick something up. Again, I don't think the Patriots are there quite yet, but there will be at least a visit with Abdul Carter, which could then set things in motion further for what the New England Patriots truly want to do. Again, big decisions looming, but it makes more evident what the decisions they've had in the past, and the Hall of Fame finalists that they recently announced were all draft picks by the Patriots. Julian Edelman, obviously a late round pick, and same as Adam Vinatieri, developing as one of the greatest kickers of all time, and Logan Mankins, the former first-round pick as well. Guys that are synonymous with the New England Patriots, and outside of Edelman, guys that have had success no matter where they went. And it now becomes these three going to a fan vote through April. And actually, you can go visit patriots.com to cast your vote before it's announced in early May which of these three individuals will actually go and join Bill Parcells as the Hall of Fame class for 2025 joining the Patriots, and who dons that red jacket. And it would not surprise me to see Julian Edelman, especially with the nature of this fan vote and keeping things more topical, a guy that still has a very large social media presence, to be that selection. And as a former Super Bowl MVP, you really can't argue with that. Obviously, all three of them, Super Bowl champions in their own right, and there's really not a bad selection. And eventually all three of these guys will get into the Hall of Fame. It really just is a question of when, and looking forward to their speeches and the things that go along with the Hall of Fame inductions. Quickly, though, a couple other names that were nominated by the committee for consideration, and some names that you might be surprised to hear, and some that you won't be. Those included Julius Adams, Peter Brock, Ron Burton, Chuck Fairbanks, Ted Johnson, Lawyer Malloy, Mosi Tutupu, and, of course, Wes Welker. So, again, please go on and cast your vote for who you think should be that next selection. Again, I think eventually you will see all of three of these guys don the red jacket, but definitely will be who you want to see first get in there. And again, I think you can't go wrong. I think Adam Vinatieri has a very strong case in going up against this as a guy who really started to set this dynasty early on. But again, Julian Edelman really would be a fantastic selection and probably will be the one for the Patriots here moving forward. Looking back to the NFL draft, and something that could line up maybe a little too well, especially with Josh McDaniels returning as the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, always liking to have that pass catching back, and not just a pass catching back, a pass blocking back. And not to say that Antonio Gibson can't be that guy, but the Patriots very obviously need to add to their backfield. And again, they could shock everyone by saying, let's just grab Ashton GT at 4 and we don't have to think about it. It stacks that room for you. But if they make the selection to continue to build out this team through the trenches, as they've talked about, it opens up a later round pick to add at the running back position, which is fairly deep in this draft class as well. Jaden Blue is one of the top ones that has now been linked to the Patriots and likely will get a visit here as well. The standout from Texas. And it lines up because you're hearing things that Jaden Blue is training like a wide receiver. He wants to be that pass catching back. He wants to be that dynamic home run hitter. And with 4.28 speed, probably more in that 4.3, 4.4 range, but has the ability to absolutely turn on the jets and run away from people and getting him into space. Another stat that bodes well for that is that 73% of his rush yards this past season came after contact. So it's not just, getting him into space and finding holes and letting him run. This is a guy that takes on contact and still finishes off those runs. And again, the final thing I believe is really going to put him over the edge is pass protection and being able to have that be a hallmark of his game, and letting Josh McDaniels say, I can have a young guy that can learn the system and work his way up, in addition to having some veterans and Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson to really round out that running back room in its entirety. To be perfectly honest and forthright, there is some knocks against Jaden Blue with that durability and some injury concerns, and additionally ball security. Unfortunately, he had one fumble averaged in every 30 touches, which is a great deal, and we know that after last season and watching Ramondre Stevenson struggle through what he had in his fumble issues, I should say, it can wear on a team and it can be a drive killer. So again, while you can be as talented as possible, if you can't prioritize ball security and hold on to the rock, doesn't matter how good you can be and how dynamic, it can cap how often you would actually see the field. So something to keep in mind. I think the earliest you would hear Jaden Blue's name would be on the end of day 2 and potentially round 3. And I think if still around at the round 4 pick, the Patriots could seriously consider based upon the other names that you would still see out there. And finally, today we end with what's next for the kicking game for the New England Patriots. And obviously, Adam Vinatieri is not walking through that door. You might hear his name in the Hall of Fame ceremony. But the Patriots, after going from Vinatieri to Gostkowski, have had kind of a revolving door. Nick Folk had a couple good years, but they've had trouble finding a long-term solution at the position. Now, obviously, moving on from Joey Sly this past year, having John Parker on the roster now, but obviously we'll be bringing in competition. And Matt Gay, after being cut by the Colts on Thursday, really could be the right guy that the Patriots could circle because the free agent dollars that they still do have to spend. This is a guy that went 68 of 69 on extra points the past 2 seasons, so something that you can kind of consider almost automatic in that scenario becomes very huge, especially after backing up the extra point a few years ago, and 64 of 78 on field goals over the past 2 seasons as well. Not a automatic one, but not a terrible conversion rate either, but a true veteran that could actually put pressure, especially if the Patriots decide to draft a kicker in the back end of the upcoming NFL draft as well. So do not be surprised to hear Matt Gay's name announced with some signings coming up here for the Patriots. Obviously, those holes at left tackle and potentially building out the wide receiver room, and a couple of those prize free agents still out there could be signed. But Matt Gay would be one that makes a lot of sense for this team, looking to add competition throughout these position battles that the Patriots will have as soon as they start getting into OTAs after the NFL draft. That'll do us for us on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, make sure to get down and subscribe for our channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think about today's news. If Abdul Carter will actually have a chance to get to the Patriots, and who could be the solution if he does not. We'll be back here with even more for you coming for your New England Patriots. Fight on, Foxborough.